Well, welcome. Yeah, as some might mention before, I'm from the DBI team. Had some DBI related software on CPAN, and testing the Perl database interface, which DBI, the drivers, the SQL engines, the components, and what's attached there. Well, a lot of the DBI members can tell you it's a large story of reinventing the wheel again, and again. And of course, of a lot of copying. Yeah, DBI. DBI itself, it's a big distribution. It contains, of course, the database interface. It contains a few DBDs, which it needs for its own test suite, and as an abstraction layer for other DBDs which are coming from CPAN. And it includes, because of it has DBDs, this includes a basic SQL engine. So, DBD itself comes with around, I would say 60 tests, which are duplicated for Gopher, for Nano, for Pure, and so on. It tests itself with a null P DBD. It's not for production use because it cannot do anything besides verifying that the DBI interface itself works, or even not. Then we have an example P. That's a kind of hierarchical driver, and it's used for see if a basic query delivers an answer. And we can proxy it over a Gopher proxy. We verified with the example. We had also results, and we are using DBM. Well, DBM is in fact a real database. A key value database, but, we can store persistent data on it. And the previously mentioned combinations. Yeah, but of course, DBI is large, but not so large. We had only a small SQL engine. It's called SQL Nano. It has its limitations. So, the DBM coming with DBI without SQL statement can only have one table per query. But you can install the plugin SQL statement, and then you can use more tables. You can use joins, you can use limit, having, group by, and so on. But this requires more tests, which are copied from SQL statement and will execute it when DBI is installed with previously installed SQL statement. By copying. Every time I update SQL statement, I copy the test to DBI, and the next DBI comes with updated SQL statement tests. Then we have a driver which is not bundled. The author is sitting there, trying to hack more DBI tests, and he makes what we cannot do it in DBI because we don't want to increase our dependencies. He increases the test range to cover all, at least he tries. Then we have DBD ODBC, probably everyone knows. DBD ODBC has a lot of tests, but for ODBC conformances. Not really for, is it DBI API correctly used? We all think it is. We have very less bugs offers for that, but we aren't sure. SQLite concentrates on SQLite operations. It doesn't test DBI conformance at all. Well, someone will tell if it fails. Yeah. Adding those tests is the thing we want to reach with that module, DBI test, and hopefully some of you are interested and use it. So, we are trying to make one base distribution is used by DBI, by SQL statement, by any DBD out there, by third-party modules like TiDBI, TiDBD, yeah, TiDBI, well, don't play with your handy. Yeah. Okay, I said that. We will try to have DBI test based, the base test distribution for all. We are all strongly cooperate with each other to exchange tests, exchange experience. We have some technology stolen from book. And we created some kind of infrastructure, meanwhile, and have basic tests running. And that, in the short time, well, I uploaded the first release at the beginning of last week, we found 3 new bugs we did not discover before. Needed. Okay. Yeah. What's to do by anyone who wants to use it to improve the test range? Well, that's easy. First, you need to tell your backfile PL or build PL that you want to use DBI test. You do it by using the DBI test conf in your makefile PL, calling setup, give some options. In our case, we are setting, no, we don't want auto tests, we remove it at all. We are creating a skip file, which helps us not to bundle populated tests into our distribution. They will be created on the installer's machine again. And we say, yeah, okay, this example is from DBI. We have 2 DBDs contained we want to have tested. Then we are writing our makefile. We have our generated tests. They are populated and we clean them and don't distribute them. Yeah. But which tests? Wrong direction. I come back to them later. Okay. This is more or less an easy example. We have a test case which tests if our SQL engine bugs on invalid statements. So, we need tell test DBI test. Can we run the test on this database? It doesn't make sense to test SQL statement tests on DBD ODBC, of course. And I think everyone would agree. Microsoft SQL Server doesn't care about SQL statement and pure Perl drivers. They have their own tests. But we might care about DBI conformance there. But in that case, we are writing a new test and we are checking if our SQL engine is conformant. So we have a supported variant which will return true when we are running any driver which is using our SQL engine. And then we have a run test method. There are the real tests included. Well, let's go that way. Then we have to tell DBI test. This is a test case we really want to execute. It's not an experiment. We don't want to have it on auto site, and we want to see that. So we are creating a DBI test list plugin, and we have a subroutine test cases. This subroutine is called when the list of test cases is loaded to create the list of tests to populate. And yeah, we are returning, because of slide size, one test here. And then that test is populated. Later, this test is run. Here, the tests are populated. And, well, it's run. The test is run, but which what DSN? We have DBD file, and we have DBD CSV, we have DBD DBM. So we create, for example, a JSON file and said, yeah, okay, we have that kinds of tests, and please use that DSN for them. So the tests are run against DBD CSV. We can create our own DSN provider, for example for DBM, which creates way more DSNs to detect the different backends. For example, WorklyDB instead of DBD file, DB file, or SDBM file, which adds MLDBM to support more than 2 columns per table. All those things can be tested with one test case. Yeah, we have one test case, and we run it against a bunch of database configurations. Well, it's a very young module. If you want to participate, please download, look into the source, don't trust to the major documentation. Yeah, that's it. It's a bit shorter than 20 minutes. Sorry guys. Any questions? No? Cool. Oh, we have one question. Sorry.
Sorry. Do you think DBI tests can be used to test not DBD driver but some kind of homegrown DBIX, which is obviously much smaller than DBIX?
Yes, of course. Members of the DBIX class team plan to use DBI test also for populating different configurations for their tests. So yes, DBI extensions can benefit from DBI test.
Specifically, the configuration will be shared between pretty much all major distributions, with the idea that you have one file in your home directory, whatever we haven't decided exactly how it's going to work. But then, for example, your product can work against the same DSNs, mine can work against the same DSNs, this stuff works against the same DSNs.
What happens in the end on your side, you're at the top level, it will inherit all the files that you specify to inherit from all the modules you depend on and that use DBI test.
Mm-hmm. I see. So, thanks.
Actually, just a remark, we did not mention a very important part that, in a sense, the tests that ran originally with DBI will rerun when you install DBD CSV.
Yeah, I forgot that, really. The test cases are more or less installed plugins. That's true, I forget to mention. Always when you create a test case and deliver it, for example with DBI, with DBD CSV, with DBI test, where we have basic tests and a DBI mock to test DBI and DBI test against itself. All those test cases are installed and are populated again when you are installing a dependent module. So, the DBI API test is run when you're installing DBI, when you are installing DBD CSV, when you are installing DBX class, when you are installing whatever what is using DBI test. It always reruns against any wanted and configured DSN the DBI conformance tests. Or the SQL statement conformance test in case of DBD CSV, DBD PO. Well, we have a lot of SQL statement-based drivers on the C environment.
Let me add one thing. That means that if you, like DBD CSV, I've just converted 3 test files. I get an extra 5,000 tests for free. If you superclass DBD CSV, you get those 5,000 also.
You can configure them out.
Yeah.
Well, that's a support the test variant for.
In essence, you're not actually inheriting the tests themselves, you're inheriting the templates for the tests. So anytime the test generator runs, it generates your tests plus anything inherited from them. That's how it works.
Okay, you need way more CPU power now. That's the conclusion. But you learned that morning how to monitor that.